Have you ever wondered why Bumblebee's 1967 Camaro became more famous than the actual Transformers? What if I told you Michael Bay didn't even want a Camaro, and the iconic yellow paint job isn't a real GM color? This legendary movie car hides secrets that will blow your mind. Today, we're counting down 20 weird facts about the 1967 Chevrolet Camaro from Transformers that will completely change how you see Bumblebee. From destroyed stunt cars to corporate battles between Ford and GM, from eBay purchases to record-breaking auctions, these revelations are pure Hollywood gold. So buckle up, hit that like button if you love movie cars and Transformers, and let's transform into the hidden world of Bumblebee's secrets. Number 20. Bumblebee started as a 1976 Camaro in early concepts. When Transformers was in early development, Bumblebee looked completely different. The original design concepts featured a 1976 second-generation Camaro. The later model had those distinctive wraparound rear windows and smoother body lines. Michael Bay and his team spent months working with this design. They built digital models and even sourced actual 76 Camaros for testing. But something felt wrong. The second-gen Camaro, while iconic, didn't have the aggressive stance they needed. It looked too soft, too rounded for a warrior robot. Then someone suggested going back further. The 1967 first-generation Camaro had sharp lines, an angry face, and pure American muscle attitude. The moment they saw it, everything changed. That classic profile perfectly captured Bumblebee's character evolution from underdog to hero. Number 19. They used over a dozen different 67 Camaros. Here's something casual viewers never realize. That yellow Camaro wasn't one car. The production acquired and used more than 12 different 1967 Camaros throughout filming. Each vehicle served specific purposes based on the scene requirements. Some were pristine for close-up beauty shots. Others were modified for high-speed chase sequences. Several were designated as expendable stunt cars, basically sacrificial vehicles for destruction scenes. The production team maintained detailed logs tracking which car was used where. VIN numbers were recorded meticulously. Paint jobs had to match perfectly across all vehicles. On any given filming day, multiple Camaros might be on set simultaneously. While one was being prepped, another was filming, and a third was in repair. This rotating fleet kept production moving smoothly. Number 18. The yellow wasn't a factory GM color. That iconic Bumblebee yellow didn't come from any Chevrolet color chart. GM offered various yellows over the years, but none looked right on camera. The production hired automotive paint specialists to create a custom color. They mixed and tested dozens of formulas. Standard yellows were too pale or too orange. They needed something that would pop on screen, match the CGI robot perfectly, and look good under various lighting conditions. The final formula, unofficially dubbed Bumblebee Yellow, was a proprietary blend. It had specific metallic flake content for depth. The hue was carefully calibrated to film equipment. Under sunlight, it glowed brilliantly. Under artificial light, it maintained saturation. Every Camaro in the fleet received this exact custom color. The paint supplier kept the formula locked down tight. Number 17. Michael Bay found most of them on eBay and Craigslist. In a move that seems almost too casual for a major Hollywood production, Michael Bay's team sourced most of their Camaros through online classifieds. Production assistants spent weeks scrolling through eBay, Craigslist, and classic car forums. They'd find a 67 Camaro, verify its condition through photos and phone calls, then negotiate purchases. Some sellers had no idea their car would become Bumblebee. The production paid varying prices, sometimes above market value for quick sales. They needed cars immediately and couldn't wait for traditional dealer sourcing. This unconventional approach actually worked perfectly. They found cars in different conditions, from pristine restorations to project vehicles. The variety gave them exactly what they needed. Classic car collectors noticed prices for 67 Camaros suddenly spiking as Hollywood buyers competed in the market. Number 16. The rust bucket version was artificially aged. Remember when Sam first sees Bumblebee at the used car lot? That beaten, rusty Camaro looked authentically neglected. But it wasn't real deterioration. A specialized effects team spent weeks artificially aging a restored Camaro. They started with a clean car and systematically destroyed its appearance. They applied chemical treatments to create realistic rust patterns. They sandblasted paint in specific areas for weathered effects. The vinyl top was deliberately torn and faded. They even broke certain trim pieces strategically. The interior received similar treatment: stained upholstery, cracked dashboard, worn carpeting. Everything was calculated to look naturally aged, but remain structurally sound for filming. The rust bucket had to drive reliably and transform dramatically later in the film. So underneath that distressed exterior was a perfectly maintained vehicle. Number 15. They built a hydraulic transformation rig. While most of Bumblebee's transformations were pure CGI, the production built actual mechanical rigs for certain shots. Engineers constructed a hydraulic platform that could physically move car parts. Doors would open on command. The hood could rise and split. Sections of the body could shift positions. These practical effects were filmed and then enhanced with computer graphics. The rig allowed actors to interact with a transforming car in real time. When Shia LaBeouf looks amazed at the transformation, he's watching actual mechanical movement, not just imagining it. The hydraulic system was incredibly complex, requiring dozens of pneumatic cylinders and electric motors. Technicians could program specific movement sequences. This combination of practical and digital effects made Bumblebee's transformations feel more tangible and real. Number 14. The interior was completely custom fabricated. Open the door of a real 1967 Camaro and you'll see classic 1960s simplicity. Basic gauges, bench seats, minimal controls. Bumblebee's interior looked nothing like that. Production designers completely fabricated a futuristic custom interior. They removed everything original and built from scratch. The dashboard featured glowing alien technology displays. The steering wheel was a custom design with integrated controls. The seats were specially molded with Autobot insignias. Even the door panels were one-off creations. Lighting elements were embedded throughout, creating that signature blue glow. The center console housed fictional Cybertronian technology that could interact with Sam. None of this existed in a real Camaro. Every piece was handcrafted specifically for the film. Multiple interior sets were built to match across different cars in the fleet. Number 13. 5 Camaros were destroyed in the first film alone. Transformers wasn't gentle on its star cars. The first movie completely destroyed at least 5 different 1967 Camaros. The highway chase scene totaled 2 vehicles in spectacular fashion. High-speed rollovers crushed another during the Sector 7 pursuit. Explosion sequences consumed 1 more. Battle scenes with Decepticons demolished the 5th. Each destruction was carefully planned and filmed from multiple angles to maximize the footage value. These weren't cheap losses either. Even before the movie boosted values, 67 Camaros were desirable collector cars. Insurance costs for the production were substantial. They had to justify every destroyed vehicle to studio executives. But Michael Bay's philosophy was practical effects over CGI when possible. Real car destruction looked better on camera than digital effects. Those smashed Camaros gave the film authentic weight and danger. Number 12. The engine sound is from a different car. That deep, aggressive rumble when Bumblebee accelerates? That's not actually a 1967 Camaro engine. Most of the film's Camaros had various engines, some original small blocks, others with modern swaps, but none sounded dramatic enough for Michael Bay's vision. The sound design team recorded multiple modern muscle cars. They sampled current generation Camaro SS models with their aggressive V8s. They recorded Corvettes, Challengers, even some European sports cars. Then they layered these sounds together in post-production. Different scenes got different audio treatments. Casual driving received a subdued muscle car rumble. Action sequences featured a violent, explosive roar. They even added synthetic elements to make Bumblebee sound slightly alien. The final audio was a carefully constructed symphony of automotive aggression that bore little resemblance to what was actually on set. Number 11. GM demanded the switch to the 2009 Camaro. Here's where art met commerce in controversial fashion. General Motors was a major sponsor of Transformers. They'd invested heavily in product placement throughout the film. But GM had an agenda beyond the '67 Camaro. They were launching the fifth-generation Camaro in 2009 and wanted it featured prominently. The deal required Bumblebee to upgrade mid-film to the new model. Michael Bay initially resisted. The '67 was perfect for Bumblebee's character. But GM's financial contribution was too significant to ignore. The compromise was making it part of the story. Bumblebee scans a new vehicle and upgrades himself. Fans were divided. Purists hated seeing the classic replaced. Others appreciated the modern muscle car's aggressive styling. This corporate mandate became one of the film's most debated creative decisions. The '67 Camaro got the character established. Then, GM's new model took over. Number 10. Shia LaBeouf couldn't actually drive manual. Sam Witwicky confidently drives his manual transmission Camaro throughout the film. But Shia LaBeouf had a problem. He'd never driven a stick shift in his life. The production discovered this during early rehearsals. Shia had grown up in Los Angeles driving automatics exclusively. They needed him to at least look convincing behind the wheel. A stunt coordinator gave him an intensive crash course in manual transmission operation. For weeks before filming, Shia practiced in parking lots. He learned clutch control, smooth shifting, and rev matching. For actual driving scenes, especially high-speed sequences, professional stunt drivers took over. They'd film wide shots with the stunt driver, then cut to close-ups of Shia in a stationary car with the background processed in. By the end of production, Shia had become reasonably competent with a manual transmission. Number 9. They reinforced the frames for stunt work. The 1967 Camaro's original unibody construction wasn't designed for modern Hollywood stunts. These cars were built in an era of different safety standards and performance expectations. Jumping them, rolling them, or high-speed precision driving required serious modifications. Production engineers reinforced every stunt car's frame with additional steel. They welded in full roll cages that were then hidden from camera view. Suspension mounting points were strengthened to handle extreme loads. The firewall and floor pans received extra bracing. They essentially built a modern stunt car inside a classic Camaro shell. These modifications were invisible on screen but crucial for safety and performance. The reinforced frames allowed stunt drivers to push the cars far beyond what a stock '67 could handle. Some cars had so much additional steel they weighed significantly more than original specifications. Number 8. The racing stripes were applied and removed multiple times. Bumblebee's appearance evolved throughout the film, and those iconic black racing stripes were a continuity nightmare. Different scenes required different looks based on the timeline and story beats. Sometimes Bumblebee had stripes, sometimes he didn't. The production couldn't repaint cars constantly, so they developed a solution. High-quality vinyl racing stripes that could be quickly applied and removed. A dedicated team handled stripe application before specific scenes. They'd carefully align and smooth the vinyl. After filming, they'd remove them for the next setup. This happened dozens of times throughout production. Each car in the fleet needed its own set of stripes. The vinyl had to match perfectly across all vehicles. Tracking which car needed stripes for which scene became a logistical challenge. The script supervisor maintained detailed notes about Bumblebee's appearance in every shot. Number 7. 1. Camaro was kept pristine and never driven. Among the fleet of Bumblebee Camaros, one vehicle stood completely apart. This was the ultimate hero car, and it never turned a wheel under its own power. It existed purely as a display piece for close-up beauty shots. While other cars were getting thrashed in stunts, this Camaro remained in climate-controlled storage. Before filming its scenes, detailers would spend hours making it absolutely perfect. Every surface was meticulously polished. The paint was maintained to show car standards. Chrome gleamed flawlessly. The interior was immaculate. This car appeared in promotional materials, press events, and any scene requiring a perfect Bumblebee. It was trailer transported to and from every location, never driven on public roads. Today, this specific Camaro is considered the most valuable of all the film cars. It's in a private collection, preserved exactly as it appeared on screen. Number 6. The headlights were modified to blink. One of Bumblebee's most endearing characteristics was his expressive face, created primarily through his headlights. The production team engineered custom motorized mechanisms inside the headlight housings. Small servo motors could rapidly flip the lights on and off or create dimming effects. This allowed Bumblebee to blink or show emotion through his headlights. The practical effect was then enhanced with CGI for more complex expressions. But the foundation was real mechanical movement captured on camera. Actors could interact with a car that seemed genuinely alive and responsive. When Bumblebee looked sad, curious, or angry, it started with those modified headlights. The engineering was delicate work. The mechanisms had to fit inside the limited space of 67 Camaro headlight housings. They had to operate reliably under various weather conditions and during action scenes. This simple modification helped transform a car into a character. Number 5. Bay wanted a Mustang, but GM was the sponsor. Here's a fact that might shock Ford fans. Michael Bay's original choice for Bumblebee wasn't a Camaro at all. He wanted a 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback. Bay felt the Mustang's aggressive profile and cultural significance made it perfect for the character. Early concept art featured Mustangs. The design team even sourced several for testing and photography. But there was an insurmountable problem. General Motors was the official automotive sponsor of Transformers. GM invested millions in product placement throughout the film. The deal was exclusive. No Ford vehicles could be featured as heroic characters. Bay had to abandon the Mustang idea entirely. Some crew members say he argued passionately for the Mustang before ultimately accepting GM's requirement. The Camaro became the compromise that actually worked brilliantly. But in an alternate universe, Bumblebee could have been a Mustang. Ford missed one of cinema's greatest product placement opportunities. Number 4. The original hero car sold for $167,200 at auction. Years after Transformers' release, one of the original screen-used Camaros came up for auction at Barrett-Jackson. This wasn't just any film car. It was authenticated as a primary hero vehicle used in close-up shots. The provenance was impeccable. Documentation traced its use in specific scenes. Michael Bay had even signed the dashboard. The pre-auction buzz was electric. Transformers fans and car collectors both wanted this piece of cinema history. When bidding opened, the price climbed quickly. Multiple serious bidders competed aggressively. The atmosphere in the auction hall was intense. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $167,200. The buyer, whose identity remained private, got more than just a modified Camaro. They got a genuine movie star, a car recognized worldwide. Compared to other famous movie cars, this was actually a relative bargain. The Bullitt Mustang sold for millions, but $167,200 represented serious money for a '67 Camaro. Number 3. They used modern Camaro suspension under some cars. This secret rarely gets discussed, but several of the Stunt Camaros had a massive hidden modification. The production team completely removed the original 1967 suspension and replaced it with modern 5th-generation Camaro suspension components. This wasn't a simple upgrade, it was a complete swap. Modern control arms, coilovers, sway bars, and braking systems were retrofitted into the classic chassis. The engineering required was substantial. Mounting points had to be fabricated. Suspension geometry needed careful calculation, but the result was transformative. These Camaros could handle like modern performance cars while looking vintage. Stunt drivers could push them through aggressive maneuvers that would be impossible with 1960s suspension technology. The modern brakes provided stopping power crucial for safety. On camera, you'd never know. The wheels and tires hid everything. The cars looked completely stock, but underneath, they were modern performance machines wearing classic skin. Number 2. The transformation sounds were made from real car parts. Bumblebee's iconic transformation sound, that mechanical symphony of metal and hydraulics, was created using actual automotive components. Foley artists didn't rely solely on synthesizers or digital effects. They gathered real car parts, transmissions, suspension components, engine parts, body panels. In a specialized sound studio, they manipulated these parts to create the transformation audio. Dropping heavy metal components created deep impacts. Sliding metal against metal produced the grinding sounds. Hydraulic systems from actual vehicles provided the pneumatic hisses. They recorded hundreds of individual sounds, then layered them in post-production. Each part of Bumblebee's transformation had corresponding real-world mechanical sounds. The attention to detail was obsessive. Sound designers wanted audiences to feel the weight and complexity of the transformation. This combination of real and synthesized audio created something visceral and believable. The transformation sounded mechanical because it largely was mechanical, just not in the way viewers assumed. Number 1. Chevrolet sales jumped 30% after the film. Here's the ultimate testament to Transformers' cultural impact. After the film's release in 2007, Chevrolet Camaro sales and interest exploded. There was just one problem. The fifth-generation Camaro wasn't available yet. GM's dealerships were flooded with inquiries about the Bumblebee Camaro. Used fourth-generation Camaros saw a sales spike, but the real impact came when the 2010 Camaro finally launched. GM designed it heavily influenced by Bumblebee's look from the film. Sales exceeded all projections by roughly 30%. Dealers had waiting lists. The yellow models, especially with black racing stripes, were the most sought after. GM's investment in Transformers product placement returned exponentially. Marketing experts called it one of the most successful automotive tie-ins in cinema history. The film didn't just sell tickets, it revived an American icon. The Camaro had been discontinued in 2002. Transformers proved there was massive demand. Bumblebee literally brought the Camaro back from extinction and made it cooler than ever. And there you have it. 20 weird facts about Bumblebee's Camaro that changed everything. Which fact shocked you most? Were you Team Mustang or Team Camaro? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more movie car secrets. Until next time, Autobots roll out.